Mexico is a country that almost everyone believes they already know. But if your understanding of this vast nation is built only on sun-drenched Caribbean beaches, the strumming of mariachi bands, colorful festivals, and luxury resorts, you have only grazed the outermost shell. The true Mexico doesn't exist on a glossy postcard. It begins in the quiet dawn, announced by the distinct metallic chime of a gas truck navigating the narrow neighborhood streets. It wakes up in the warm, comforting aroma of fresh conchas and bolillos drifting from a local bakery, and in the vibrant, crowded aisles of a morning market where a community's heart beats. It breathes inside a modest family kitchen, where an abuela stands over a stove, carefully tending to a simmering sauce, a recipe unwritten yet preserved through generations. This is not a tour guide's narrative. This is the raw reality of young people carrying heavy backpacks, boarding buses to leave their quiet hometowns in search of a future. It is the reality of silent coastal laborers, of farmers whose hands are deeply weathered by the soil, and of families gathering in softly lit public squares when the day's heat finally breaks. In a nation caught in the relentless crossfire of rapid modernization, deep-rooted inequality, and the painful waves of migration, a profound question remains. What is the invisible, unbreakable force that anchors these people to this land? Amidst the struggle and the exhausting noise of the modern world, why do they stay, and what keeps pulling them back home? Seen from the sky, Mexico reveals itself not as a single, uniform entity, but as a continent in miniature. It is a nation defined by two vast coastlines, where the tranquil, turquoise waters of the Caribbean meet the deep, powerful blue of the Pacific. It is a land shaped by the formidable mountain ranges of the Sierra Madre that form its spine, separating dense, humid jungles that guard the secrets of lost civilizations from high, arid plateaus where life must adapt to the harsh rhythm of the sun. This is a geography of extreme contrasts. It is home to sprawling, hyper-modern cities that rank among the largest on the planet, existing just hours away from quiet colonial towns, where the passage of time is still measured by the slow, echoing chime of a church bell. To truly understand Mexico is to realize it is not a country of one single narrative, but a complex tapestry of millions of interconnected stories. But to find the pulse of this immense nation, we don't look at a map. We have to bring our gaze back down to the earth. We begin on a local street, just as the day is waking up. In Mexico, the day doesn't begin with a sudden, chaotic jolt. It starts with a gentle, familiar layering of sounds and smells. In the sprawling cities, the first sign of life is often the distant, heavy murmur of traffic, a signal that the metropolis is stirring. But down in the barrios and colonias, the local neighborhoods, the morning rhythm is far more intimate. It is announced by the distinctive, echoing jingle of the gas truck slowly making its rounds, an undeniable and comforting part of the urban soundscape. Soon, the crisp morning air is filled with the scent of fresh baking. The sweet, warm aroma of conchas and bolillos drifts out from the local panadería, a place that serves as a vital cornerstone for every community. Life here, even in the shadow of towering skyscrapers, is still lived on a deeply human scale. The morning routine is not just a chore, it is a ritual built on small, meaningful interactions. It is the short, daily walk to the tiendita de esquina, the corner shop, to pick up simple essentials like milk and eggs. Here, the transaction is never anonymous. It is a place where the owner knows your name, remembers your face, and takes a moment to ask after your family. It is in these quiet, unhurried moments of connection that the true foundation of Mexican society is laid every single morning. If the neighborhood street is the capillary, the Mercado, the local market, is the vibrant, beating heart of the community. It is far more than a mere place of commerce. It is a daily reunion, a social hub where people truly encounter one another. Stepping under its sprawling roof is like entering a universe of intense color, sound, and life. The air is thick with a complex, earthy perfume, the sharp bite of fresh cilantro, the sweet fragrance of ripe mangoes, and the deep, warm aroma of simmering spices. Stalls are meticulously piled high with pyramids of produce. Butchers call out their daily specials with theatrical flair, while nearby, women skillfully press corn masa into perfect tortillas by hand, a rhythmic, hypnotic motion that has echoed through the centuries. For the vendors who wake long before dawn to arrange these displays, the Mercado is a grueling livelihood. But look closer, and you see that this is the microeconomy that keeps the local world spinning. It is a place for haggling, for sharing neighborhood gossip, and for the constant reaffirmation of community bonds. It is here that you realize Mexico operates not just on large, structural systems, but on the enduring strength of human-to-human relationships. Those bonds forged in the market are carried home, into the undisputed center of the Mexican universe, the family. Yet, family here is not the isolated, nuclear concept often seen in the modern West. It is a vast, sprawling, and deeply interconnected network. It is entirely common for multiple generations to live under a single roof or side by side on the exact same street. This closeness provides more than just a shared identity or a profound sense of belonging. In Mexico, family is the ultimate survival system. In a landscape where salaries in the informal economy can be wildly unpredictable, where public health care is often overburdened, and the pressures of modern life mount daily, the extended family network is the most resilient safety net there is. Sunday is the sacred manifestation of this bond. It is a day reserved for loud, joyful chaos. Uncles debate fiercely over soccer around a smoking grill. Cousins run wild under the watchful eyes of their grandparents. And the abuela, the grandmother, presides over a kitchen that magically produces a seemingly endless feast. This deep-seated devotion to kinship fosters a culture of interdependence and mutual support that forms the very bedrock of society, absorbing the shocks of a challenging world. At the center of these gatherings, acting as the ultimate binding agent, is the food. But in Mexico, cuisine is not merely sustenance. It is history, transformed into a meal, an expression of love, and a celebration of heritage. Here, a humble corn tortilla can tell a story longer and more profound than many history books. At its heart is corn, the sacred crop that has nourished the people of this land for millennia. Whether it takes the form of the essential tortilla, steamed parcels of tamales, or the soft masa, it is a direct, delicious continuation of ancient indigenous civilizations. Home cooking is the soul of this culture, relying on sensory knowledge passed down through generations rather than precise measurements. Consider a dish like mole from Oaxaca or Puebla, a masterpiece of culinary art that can contain dozens of ingredients, including chilies, nuts, seeds, and chocolate, taking days of painstaking labor to prepare. It is a profound expression of devotion, reserved for the most important milestones. Yet, the culinary soul of Mexico is equally alive out on the streets. The street food culture is a legendary, democratic feast available to all. The taco is king, its forms endless, from the slow-cooked pork of carnitas to the marinated, spit-roasted al pastor. Whether it's a grand Sunday dinner or a late-night bite at a favorite neighborhood stand, a shared meal is a fundamental ritual. It is a moment to pause, to connect, and to participate in a tradition that sits at the very heart of what it means to be Mexican. This profound connection to the present is inescapable because Mexico is a country built firmly upon the foundations of some of the world's most brilliant ancient cultures. The echoes of the Maya, the Aztec, and the Zapotec still resonate deeply within the language, the food, and the faces of the people today. But this is also a story of collision and fusion. The arrival of the Spanish forever changed this world, creating a culture that is a rich, intricate, and sometimes contradictory tapestry of indigenous and European heritage. This duality is the very soul of the nation, visible in the grand plazas, or zócalos, of colonial cities, where magnificent cathedrals, sometimes built with the very stones of dismantled Aztec temples, stand as powerful symbols of this complex history. Nowhere is this fusion more vividly expressed than in the country's relationship with memory and mortality. Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead, is perhaps the most iconic example of this. It is a celebration that completely transforms grief into a vibrant, life-affirming ritual. Families build elaborate altars, or ofrendas, in their homes, intimately adorned with bright orange marigolds, flickering candles, and the favorite foods of their departed loved ones. With cemeteries, often places of silent mourning elsewhere, are transformed into spaces of festive gathering, where families share meals, play music, and tell stories right at the graves of their ancestors. It is a beautiful, profound expression of the Mexican belief that death is not an end, but merely a continuation, and that the powerful bonds of family easily transcend the physical world. And carrying these stories across the threshold of time is the ever-present soundtrack to Mexican life, music. The powerful, emotive sound of mariachi, with its soaring trumpets and deeply heartfelt vocals, is a symbol of immense national pride. It is the music of celebration, of courtship, and of piercing sorrow. Yet, much like the country's geography, the musical landscape is incredibly diverse. Each region possesses its own unique sound, from the accordion-driven norteño music of the north to the marimba-laced folk songs of Chiapas. This deep sense of cultural identity is a source of immense pride, serving as a tangible connection to a heritage that is both ancient and constantly evolving. A shared identity that unites a nation of incredible diversity. It is the language they use to speak the things that ordinary words simply cannot hold. But Mexico is not solely sustained by its heritage and its songs. It is propelled forward by the relentless, daily labor of its people. The Mexican economy is a complex and dynamic engine, directly reflecting the country's immense diversity. In the industrial heartlands of the North, in cities like Monterrey, a powerful manufacturing sector driven by a highly skilled workforce produces everything from cars to electronics for the global market. Yet, travel to the vast, fertile plains and valleys of the South, and life remains intimately tied to the ancient rhythms of the land. Agriculture is a cornerstone for millions, yielding a rich bounty from the prized avocados of Michoacán to the fragrant coffee beans of Chiapas. This is a life of hard physical work, governed purely by the sun and the rain, a direct and profound connection to the earth. Between the high-tech factories and the quiet fields lies the vibrant pulse of the everyday economy. The streets of every town and city operate as a constant, moving marketplace. Street vendors are an essential, iconic part of the landscape, selling fresh squeezed orange juice in the early morning light, and tacos and roasted corn into the evening. It is the small, family-owned businesses, the local mechanic, the neighborhood tailor, the family-run restaurant, that are the true lifeblood of local economies. This deep-seated spirit of entrepreneurship, of always finding a way to make a living, is fiercely ingrained in the national character, keeping families afloat even when formal systems fail. The relentless drive to make a living takes on an intense, almost crushing weight inside the nation's sprawling urban centers. In major cities like Mexico City or Guadalajara, the glittering promise of opportunity comes with a steep, unforgiving price tag. The cost of living in these urban hubs can easily rival that of many European or North American cities. For a young professional, simply paying rent for a modern apartment in a desirable neighborhood can consume a massive, exhausting portion of their monthly salary. For the average family, managing the monthly budget is a precarious and careful balancing act. Salaries are often modest, and for the millions working in the informal economy, income remains starkly unpredictable from one day to the next. Every single peso is meticulously accounted for, from the daily transportation fares on crowded public buses and colectivos to the essential costs of electricity and cooking gas. Adding to this pressure is a mixed healthcare system, where public options are frequently overburdened and private care remains entirely unaffordable for many. Life outside the metropolis offers a completely different economic reality. In smaller towns and rural areas, life is significantly more affordable. Families might live in homes built and slowly expanded over generations, and the daily economy relies on the local Mercado rather than expensive supermarkets. A filling, home-cooked comida corrida lunch can be bought for just a few dollars. Yet, this peaceful affordability is often counterbalanced by a severe lack of well-paying jobs, a reality that forces families to make agonizing, life-altering choices. This stark economic divide has birthed a modern rite of passage for the youth of Mexico, the journey away from home. Viewing education as the primary path to upward mobility, families often make immense, quiet sacrifices to ensure their children can attend universities. Upon graduation, these young people are inevitably drawn away from their quiet rural towns and pulled into the magnetic orbit of the major cities, searching for economic independence and career opportunities. They inhabit a complex world of striking contrasts. This is a generation that is digitally connected, fluent in global culture, and intensely ambitious. It is a society where high-speed fiber-optic internet coexists with ancient farming techniques. You might see a young professional sitting in a gleaming office tower in Guadalajara, yet spending their afternoon video calling their grandmother in a small village where the rhythm of life has remained largely unchanged for generations. But if the city is where the financial future lies, why do so many young Mexicans constantly look back? Because despite their independence and the fast-paced, globalized world they navigate, the emotional pull of their roots is undeniable. For this generation, the weekend often means boarding a long-distance bus, enduring hours on the road just to make it back home for a loud family celebration or a local festival. While they may be delaying marriage to focus on their careers and embracing a more modern lifestyle, they refuse to sever the ties that bind them. They are constantly navigating between the powerful pull of tradition and the vast opportunities of the future, striving to find fulfillment while remaining profoundly anchored to the families that give them their true identity. The powerful pull of this land is deeply intertwined with the sheer, formidable force of its nature. In Mexico, the natural world is not merely a beautiful backdrop, it is an ever-present force that dictates the rhythm of life, offering both sustenance and profound national identity. The country's geography is a study in breathtaking diversity. The great mountain ranges of the Sierra Madre act as the nation's backbone, their soaring peaks and deep valleys creating countless microclimates and actively shaping the lives, languages, and unique traditions of the isolated communities nestled within them. Far to the north, the deserts are not empty wastelands, but vibrant ecosystems demanding incredible resilience and adaptation. Meanwhile, in the south, the dense tropical rainforests of Chiapas and the Yucatan Peninsula stand as bastions of biodiversity, guarding ancient Mayan ruins and nurturing indigenous life. One thing. And then there are the coasts. Hundreds of miles of shoreline along both the Pacific and the Caribbean serve as a vital way of life, providing a source of food for fishing communities and a place of recreation and spiritual solace for families. Yet, living in Mexico also means living with a deep, sobering awareness of nature's unpredictable power. From the life-giving seasonal rains to the terrifying, ever-present reality of earthquakes and active volcanoes, the earth here is a constant reminder of the dynamic, formidable forces that have shaped this land and its people. Along those beautiful coasts, particularly in areas like the Riviera Maya, tourism has emerged as a massive economic force. It provides vital jobs, income, and opportunity for countless families. But this booming industry creates a deeply complex dynamic. The glittering world of luxury resorts, international restaurants, and curated tours exists in a reality that is often completely separate from the daily lives of most Mexicans who work there. As development rapidly expands, it brings an undeniable economic benefit, but it also places an immense, crushing pressure on fragile coastal ecosystems and the authenticity of local cultures. The cost of living and property values skyrocket, threatening to price locals out of their own ancestral lands. It forces an uncomfortable question upon the landscape. Who is this paradise truly for? The visitors who come to escape their lives for a few fleeting days, or the people who must navigate the harsh realities of living here for a lifetime? The pressures of tourism are only a fraction of the profound challenges facing this vibrant nation. Behind the colorful festivals and the resilient smiles lies a landscape deeply scarred by economic disparities. The divide between the industrialized, wealthy north and the more rural, agricultural south is stark, creating a painful reality of unequal access to opportunities, quality education, and healthcare. In the megacities, the sheer volume of humanity creates immense, daily pressure on infrastructure. Millions endure grueling traffic congestion and persistent air pollution simply to make a living. Meanwhile, in many rural areas, the severe limitation of well-paying jobs forces individuals to make the agonizing choice to migrate, either to the suffocating cities or across the border to the United States in search of work. It is an economic necessity that provides for those left behind, but exacts a heavy toll by separating families and fracturing the very communities that define Mexican life. Compounding this is the growing threat of water scarcity, challenging the survival of both agriculture and urban centers. The people of Mexico are locked in a constant, complex struggle, facing the monumental challenge of balancing progress with preservation. How does a nation with such a rich, ancient heritage modernize and grow its economy without sacrificing its unique identity? So, in a world of seemingly limitless global options, And in the face of such real, exhausting, and significant challenges, why do they stay? What is the powerful, invisible force that anchors the Mexican people to this land? The answers are not found in grand economic indicators or political promises. They are found in the simple, fundamental truths of daily life. They stay for the unbreakable bonds of family, for the profound, unshakable sense of belonging to a clan that offers unconditional love, identity, and a safety net when everything else fails. They stay for the community, for the deep comfort of living in a place where neighbors still look out for one another, and where mutual help is a daily, lived reality. They stay for a culture that is rich with flavor, vivid color, and a warmth that is extended without reservation. In a modern world that can often feel increasingly anonymous, cold, and isolating, Mexico offers a deep, powerful sense of human connection. But above all else, they stay for the profound emotional connection to La Tierra, the land itself. It is a connection woven seamlessly into the complex spices of the food, the soaring trumpets of the music, and the shared, ancient history of a people who have inhabited this place for millennia. It is the irreplaceable feeling of having roots that run as deep as the ancient stone pyramids, a sense of identity that brings immense, quiet pride. Mexico is not just a place to be looked at or visited. It is a place that demands to be listened to. Listen to the morning market, the evening plaza, the call of family, and the enduring, profound rhythm of a home that holds on to its people, no matter what.